Hi and welcome back to my Sunday scripture videos. Today's video is for the week starting of the 1st of September. So that's a big celebration in itself. We are into a new month, and depending on where you live in the world, maybe September is a new exciting time for you. Maybe they are starting to come into spring after a long winter. Or maybe you are edging now gently into autumn, and if you live in a hot country, maybe that's a pleasant thing and you get a break from the weather. If you live in a colder country, then maybe there are some mixed feelings about moving into autumn. Maybe you're quite sad to see like summer left behind for another year. So be gentle with yourself over the coming week, maybe even the next 2 weeks, as we shift into a new season. And we adjust to the change in temperature and the changes around us in nature. And our bodies will feel different energetically. So maybe you'll be a little bit tired for a while as your body adjusts. Your inner thermostat has to recalibrate itself to either cool down slightly or warm up slightly, depending on where you are. So, okay, we're going to do the reading from the Radiant Ride Awake deck. And then I'm going to choose a card at the end from the Universal Love deck, which is just an oracle card to just give an extra boost to the reading at the end. So I'm going to shuffle the cards. And then when they're shuffled, I'm just going to put our intention in. The intention is just to kind of show me what's coming for the week ahead. It's a big week this week. Okay, all three cards are major arcana cards. There are no minor arcana cards here, which is, I think, a first actually. Definitely a very, very rare thing. So, yeah, let's have a look at that and see what it means for the week ahead. So, the first card is the World. And the World is our card for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So this is quite a nice card. I mean, we can look at it and we can think, yeah, the image in the card is quite calming, it's quite supportive, and it's got quite a lot of energy to it as well. Like, I feel inspired by this card. I feel like I'm being called upon and invited to dream and to imagine, and to begin to create. Looking at this card today, I'm kind of like, I'm looking at the woman inside the wreath, and it's almost like I feel like I'm looking at myself in a mirror. And as I look into this mirror, there are like kind of like then these like, mystical creatures around the edge of the mirror. And it's a bit Narnia-like, fairy tale-like, storybook-like, yeah. It's almost like I'm entering into a dream world, or, that meditation state where you can visualize and take yourself on a journey, and commune with your higher self and come back with information and gifts. And that's what this card feels like to me today. So I feel like the beginning of the week is going to be a really creative time. We're going to be called upon to look deeply into what it is that we are doing at the moment in our life, in our world, and what we would like to see. So this card is the world, and maybe this card is asking us to sit down and to stare into an imaginary looking glass or a real looking glass, but give it magical, mystical properties. Yeah, so pretend it's like a magic mirror on the wall and it can show you things, and sit there and stare into that mirror and reimagine your life, and imagine your life as you would like it to be, as you would like to live it and see it and live it and breathe it, and bring more of those things into the picture. So if you would like to be living in a beautiful house in the country instead of in a small apartment in the city, then bring that in, picture that house, imagine that house, pad it out and make it real. If you would like to have some chickens in this house in the country, then bring the chickens in and put them in the garden or in the yard and pad it out. If you, in this life in the country, you would like to be a vegetarian or a vegan, or if you'd like to have your own garden where you grow your own vegetables and herbs, then bring that in and pad it out. If in this new life you would like to be working as a spiritual consultant for people, either in person or online, then bring that in. Create the perfect office for you where you can work from home with either, another beautiful chair for your clients to come and sit in, or, a great setup around your computer so that you feel comfortable and supported and grounded and at home in that space, so that you feel spiritually nourished, and so your viewers, when they are watching that space, can also get a little sense of who you are. So think of these things. If you're single and you would like to meet someone, then what does that person look like? Who are they? Think about that. Think about the character traits that you would like this person to have, and then bring that person in, make them real. And so call things into existence, and by calling things into existence and bringing them into your mirror, you can then watch as you make them more and more real. They will then be reflected out into your real life and become more real, become more concrete and solid in your life. So that's what the beginning of the week is calling upon you to do. It's calling upon you to think about what would you really like your life to be like, and imagine the perfect world, the perfect little bubble of space that you live inside. Now, that said, then comes the harder part of the week. But don't forget, we had this great introduction on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday that sets us up to be able to deal with this part of the week. And this part of the week is the second part of our homework, essentially. If we think of it as it's like a week of study, a week of self-evaluation, a week of deep diving into our psyche, our soul, in order to spring clean and figure out what we want to be doing next and who we want to be and where we are, which fits perfectly with the change of season as well, because autumn is for me a time of year when I always do a really big clear out in my life, and I'm like, I'll go through my cupboards and I'll work out what it is that I haven't worn up until now, clothing wise, for example, that I don't think I need anymore. So I will pass that on and rehome it or recycle it or whatever. And the same with belongings, and I will go through the whole of the space where I live and just declutter and thin it out, so that we're not accumulating and carrying too much baggage around with us, because that becomes really heavy and negative and toxic. So the card for Thursday and Friday is the Tower. And I know when this card shows up, most people kind of like run away screaming, going, oh no, I don't want to see this card. And yes, it can be a scary card, it can be an unpleasant card, it can be a card that calls upon us to do things that we don't really want to do, because again, this card is asking us to really, really sit down and be still and look in the mirror. Only this time we need to look in the mirror, and we need to look at not the things we want in our life, but the things that we have in our life that aren't serving us particularly well. So what is it that is in your life that is showing up in a negative way right now? Are there relationships that you need to reevaluate and maybe part ways with? Are you living somewhere that just really isn't very good for your health? Like if you're living in the middle of a city and it's a busy city, is that becoming too much for you? Is the energy too intense? Is the air quality too poor? Are you struggling to get a good night's sleep at night because there's always hustle and bustle going on? So think about it from every single angle: relationships, friendships, family, where you live, career, health. What other things that you need to examine and let go of? If you have been feeling ill for a while, if you have been ill for a while, maybe there's something that you need to let go of in order to free yourself onto a path of healing. So sit down, pull out a journal, and really dive deeply with this card, and spend at least 2 days going into the stuff that you don't really want to look at, the stuff that's scary, the stuff that hurts, the stuff that triggers you and maybe makes you feel really sad or really angry or really scared and overwhelmed. So do what you can and do your best. Don't rush the process. If it's too much for you to do, all in one go, keep coming back in small doses, and maybe take the whole of the month just to keep looking in, just to keep dipping a little toe into that water, and then going, okay, yeah, maybe I could have a look at that. Maybe I could reevaluate my relationships with my family and work out who in my family is helpful to me and who in my family is not helpful to me, who is bringing me down and presenting as baggage in my emotional life and in my physical life. And what can I do about that? Is it in my control to improve this situation, to make it better, or do I just need to accept that it is beyond my control, and I have to surrender it, and I have to just give it over to God, and what will be. And often when we let go of things and we truly surrender, which is a very difficult thing to do, I'm not downplaying that in any way whatsoever, but when we can truly surrender, then often that's when things turn around and something good comes in to replace what we let go of. The card for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, is the Chariot. So the Chariot is a very energetic card. The Chariot is calling upon us to move forwards, and to move forwards at a pace. Yeah, fast. A chariot, when you're riding in a chariot, it is faster than when we are just walking on our feet. We are being pulled by, in this deck, there's the 2 sphinxes. In some decks, it's lions. So, and other decks, depending on the decks, it could be any animal actually, depending on what deck we choose. But in here, it's these 2 sphinxes. And, so they're pulling us and we're moving at speed. Even though, the main character in this card, he looks a bit stunned and sleepy still. It's not quite with it. It looks like he's just woken up. His face is a bit kind of red and bleary-eyed. And it's not focusing very well. Okay, I don't know if you can see that properly, but his face is a little bit red and bleary-eyed. Looks like he's got a bit of a hangover, or he's been woken up and it's the early hours and he's not very happy to be there, and he's like, whoa, and he's struggling to keep up with the fact that he's on this chariot and it's moving at pace. Yeah, so it's kind of like the weekend is gonna call upon you, and ask from you to move forwards, to take action, to start transitioning from where you are to the next space. And you might be feeling a little bit reluctant and a little bit like, whoa, what the hell happened to me here? You know, one minute I was like basking in August and whatever August was for you, and the next minute I'm being yanked into September, and it's just a bit too fast for me, and I need to slow down and stop and take stock. So be aware of that. Be aware that this might feel like a bit of a rapid weekend for you. There might be too many changes going on, and you might be a bit stunned, but be patient, have faith, it will be okay, and just try and stay grounded and know that, like this car, the chariot is pulling you and you are being held within the chariot. So you don't need to do anything per se apart from let things unfold. And the main thing in this card is like there is a white sphinx and there is a black sphinx. Okay, so there are two sides here, and maybe you need to like walk a path with an equal balance of both. But maybe you need to choose, and you need to go down one path or the other path, and you need to work out which is the right path for you. You know, like these two paths represent two different things. So, you know, one could be like the black one could be more like the anti-path in a way, like the path that is less traveled, the path that is different, the path that maybe not everybody will understand, the path that is a bit more like, you know, like we have in religion, there is the Black Madonna. Yeah, the Black Madonna is the Madonna of fallen people, or people who are being cast aside by society, people who don't fit in, people who have, you know, emotional hurt, people who had difficult childhoods, people who have been let down by life throughout their life. And a lot of people relate way more deeply to the Black Madonna than to the Virgin. And so if that resonates with you, then maybe the Sphinx that is calling to you is the Black Sphinx, because she is more aligned with the Black Madonna. And perhaps you're being called upon to embrace the side of you that you normally hide from people. So like if you're really spiritual, for example, and in your spare time you read tarot cards all the time, but yet you don't share that with most people you meet because you're uncomfortable with how they may respond to that, then maybe you are being called upon to lean more into that side of yourself and to be open and honest about who you are, to stand up for yourself first and worry less about what other people are thinking about you and are going to say about you. Be authentic to yourself, walk your true path, and in doing so, everything will come into alignment. But you may lose some stuff along the way in order to create the perfect life that you're envisaging. But maybe the other Sphinx is calling to you, the Silver Sphinx. And the Silver Sphinx is, this Sphinx looks like a well-behaved and obedient Sphinx, a Sphinx that is just trying to do her best. So this would be the you who wants to fit in with society, who wants other people to like her or him, who wants to be of service in some way, in whatever way that is to you. So maybe that's like raising a family and being, you know, a stay-at-home mum or a stay-at-home dad. Maybe that is working your way up in a company to, you know, wherever it is that you aspire to be. But it's, you know, all of these things are admirable things and they are good things, and it's not like one path is better and one path is worse. They are both of equal value, but one will suit you better depending on who you are at your core, at your center, and who you are supposed to be, who the you that has been calling to you throughout your whole life. You are now being given an opportunity to step out and be that person. And maybe that involves a bit of risk and letting some stuff go. So just take some time to look at that card. Really figure out where it is that you fit into that card. Think about which path you would like to choose. And it's alright if you don't know at the moment. Maybe you won't know until you get to the end of the week, so maybe you can't think ahead about that. Maybe none of this will make sense to you until you travel through the week step by step and do the work along the way. But it looks set to be a really interesting week, a challenging week, and maybe a week with some difficult areas, but overall a good week with some positive outcomes. So yeah, I'd be excited about that. I think that's a good reading for the week ahead. Okay, so now I'm going to do the oracle cards. I'm just going to pull an oracle card for the overall energy for the week that we can lean into to offer us some support and guidance, especially helping us get through the tower part of the week. So a card fell out, and that card is blessings. So, and this card actually looks to me a bit like the Virgin Mary. So I think this card is saying, you know, be safe, be soft, be supported, be gentle, be peaceful. Know that you are loved. Know that you are watched over. Everything is going to be okay. Everything that is happening to you right now is happening for a reason, in the natural order of things. And it's happening to make your life bigger and better and brighter. It's happening to help you heal. Happening to help you release all of the things that you have been dragging with you throughout your life up until now. Things that have been holding you back and weighing you down. Things that have been hurting your heart and your soul. And I bring you blessings and great love. Everything is going to be okay. Know that. Believe that. For I have got your back. So that's what that card says to me. And then I'm going to, just because I think it's always interesting as well and fun, I'm going to read you what it says in the guidebook. Okay, so the guidebook says, your recent act of kindness has not gone unnoticed. The universe thanks you for the kindness you showed another recently and bestows eternal love and blessings upon you. You are dearly loved by her and by the divine will of the one whose light fills both heaven and earth. Gently close your eyes as you receive this great blessing. Feel yourself being showered in heavenly light. Know that the entire universe resides in your heart, for you are part of life's endless blessing. Every act of kindness helps the world to glow a little brighter. Every act of kindness is a blessing not only unto others, but also unto oneself. For ultimately we are all one spirit. So I hope that spoke to you. That spoke to me really, really deeply, actually, in a way that like almost choked me up. So I took a personal message from that, and I really hope that you did as well. So I wish you a really, really beautiful week and blessings, and see you next time.